Hey everybody, Scout Crafty here again. It's Wednesday, midweek Wednesday. Couple things to talk about. First of all, on Monday's episode, we had a good friend of the show, Gareth, had what I believe is a Stanley number 12 scraper plane, and he had a issue, and I discussed it with you through the episode, and a lot of you came up with some great ideas and great cures, and I'm so glad that you offered your opinion, because I found out a couple things about that particular scraper plane, and that is, number one, the early Stanley used a lot of their own specific thread sizes and pitches, so that's not a common thread size, which can be another problem. And so when we're trying to fix his plane, because the handle screws seem to be stripped out, they were brass screws in a cast iron plane bed. It came up to a bunch of different problems. Now, the best way, obviously, if money was no object and you were doing a museum restoration, the best way is to make sure that the threads were properly cleaned out, and if they weren't buggered up inside the cast iron body, is to get two new Stanley, new old stock handle screws. But from the research I could find, I believe those screws are 260 thousandths by 18 inches, 18 threads per inch, which is very close to our 1/4 by 20. But, quarter by 20 for us is 250 thousandths, so it's 10 thousandths wider. And of course, it has 18 threads per inch instead of the 20 that we have. So it's a very odd size. If you find those, you can pay $20 for two screws. To me, that bothers me. Anytime I come across screws that are Whitworth or some kind of crazy, I always drill them out, tap them with common screws. That's, what I do. But if you were doing like a conservation, you would want to keep that. Again, if money was no object, you'd want to keep those threads pristine or whatever you could do. So ideally, if the threads, let's say, were salvageable inside the cast iron body, the best thing to do would to come up with two handle screws. And the way you could do that, the easiest way, number one, is to purchase two on eBay if you could find them. But again, you're going to pay through the nose. The second best way is if you had a lathe, you could easily turn a larger brass cap screw down to 260 thousandths and to just thread it 18 threads per inch, but a lot of us don't have lathes. So then the next step would be to buy a die. Now it's very hard to find that die in 260 thousandths by 18 threads per inch. So what you could do is you could get a 1/4 inch die, 1/4 by 18. They do make those, and you would have to buy a die that is called a split die. And then what you would do is you would open that up to its maximum opening. I guess you would get, 10 thousandths over and thread it that way. You could do that, and you would probably get something that would work. So there are different ways to come about this. But again, it's going to cost you money. You're going to be spending $25 to $30 for these two screws either way. So that's why I said, one way was the JB Weld fix. But the JB Weld fix is a lot of people, especially the purists, they say, you JB Weld, but it is very strong. And just to show you how strong it is, I wanted to do a little example today. So let's get right to that. Okay, real quick. Last week, Gareth had sent a question about he was working on a Stanley scraper plane. The holes were stripped out, or the bolt was stripped out. We don't know, but it was, you could pass it through without any problem. It wouldn't grip the threads. So we asked about a question of how to fix it. I suggested one quick and easy fix is a JB Weld fix. And some of you haven't used JB Weld, and some of you don't know the properties of JB Weld. And I just wanted to show what a great product it is. And I learned this from old timers. And there are two probably products that will save you at one time or another in your career. One of them is a vice grip. A vice grip has saved more people getting out strip bolts and things like that. Vice grips everybody needs one of these. If you don't have one, it's a must-have tool, okay? And secondly, probably the second most item that has saved people is JB Weld. JB Weld is a two-part epoxy. It has like a steel filler in it. This stuff, I'm telling you, I know from the steam engine guys, they fix steam engines with it. It's unbelievable. And now I'm going to show you, we're going to demonstrate. I just want to show you how strong it is. And like I said, you could tap this, you know. So what I did is I took a piece of aluminum that I got from my buddy Kent. He brought me some, he said, maybe you can use some, you know, brought me a couple blocks. And of course I can always use it. So I drilled a hole and tapped it for 5/16 by 18 threads per inch. Okay, so you can see here, this is, it's a good tap, solid tap. However, that is considered like the next size up from, this is 1/4 by 20. Now, let me show you what happens when I put a 1/4 by 20 in here. Nothing. And this is very similar to Garrett's, how his, you know, nut fit in that scraper plane. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this with JB Weld, tap it out 1/4 20, and then we're going to put some weight on there and see how much it holds and how strong. Now this is aluminum, so it's comparable to the cast iron, but you can see here, I did a nice threading job. Gonna show you how I would fix that plane. Probably one of the most important parts whenever you're going to use any kind of epoxy. First of all, two-part epoxy. If you've never used it before, it's 100 times better than any kind of single-use glue like CA glue or anything like that. This is the stuff right here. But what you want to do is you have to make sure your surface is prepped and clean. So isopropyl alcohol, denatured alcohol. In his case, to go in there with a wire brush, you know, with a drill and spin that out first and then clean it out. Use a ton of alcohol and clean it out until there's absolutely no more residue of cutting fluid or dirt or anything else. That's number one. Okay, here we have equal parts of the resin and hardener. We're going to mix it up. The white and black will make almost like a dark gray when you're finished, just like that. But you just keep mixed. That's what's nice about having the two different colors. You could see how it mixed, unlike clear epoxy when it's very difficult to tell when it's fully mixed. But here you'll get that nice gray color, and it will look like liquid gold, liquid steel here. And now what we're going to do is just give it a good mix and push it through. Make sure you don't have any of that, like that white that's on the stick. You want to make sure that's all off. Just, it doesn't have to be perfect in size, but you just want to get it till it gets to this consistency. Then we're going to use a bamboo skewer, and we're going to put it into the hole, and I'll show you how that works. Now the key is to get small amounts on the skewer and get it into the bottom of the hole, and then just work it around the outs into the threads. Okay, so you're going to wrap some JB Weld around the stick here, around the skewer, put it into the hole, and get it so it's into and around in the threads. You want to push it in those, especially if those threads are damaged. Okay, you just don't want to fill the hole. You got to get to the bottom of the hole. So a little bit on the skewer, go into the bottom of the hole, and then press it against the sides of the walls until you start building it up. And then when you get enough in there, you want to make sure that you want to have a little bit of a hole in the top so that it's easy to start your tap when you're ready to tap it again. So I'll just keep filling that up until it's nice and full. We have the hole filled in nicely. We're going to put this on the furnace along with this card, okay, because this card will show you later on. We're going to give it a full 24 hours to cure. We'll do this tomorrow. But you feel the card to make sure if it's dry, and you'll feel tomorrow this will be, you know, smooth and hard. And that's how you'll know. And then we'll drill and tap this and put it to the test and see how strong it is. Now, it's been about 20 hours or so, but this is cured. I had it on the furnace. You can see here, it is absolutely rock solid, hard as can be. And we filled it in. Now we're going to drill it and tap it 1/4 by 20, and then we'll test how strong it is. Now we're here at the milling machine. The beauty of the milling machine is you can move the table back and forth to get it centered. See? And we'll drill that out. We'll drill that out to a number 7, which is the bit that you use for a 1/4 by 20 threading. Now you can see here we tapped it, okay, 1/4 by 20, and you can see this goes all the way through. You see here it's tapped all the way through. Now, my intentions were originally to put this eye bolt on here and hook it up to my scale and see how much weight it would take. But you know, my scale is only hooked up to my joist. I think it'll do better than that. Let me show you what I meant. Okay, so here you see the setup. I originally was just going to hang this on here, and you can see I have it, but this is only just nailed to the joist. This is only meant to carry 100 pounds or so for light lifting. But I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to tug on this a little bit, and you see that's just pulling on the thread. Okay, I'm going to pull down on this now. Just give it some pull down. Wait, turn on here. Okay, here we go. There we go. It's 80, 90, 100, 120, 30, 40, 50. So you can see, again, 150 pounds. Now you can see that was 150 pounds pulling out. But what I wanted to do is I'm going to put this in the dake and we'll push it down because I think this is good for much more than 150. What do you think? In your mind, what do you think this is good for as far as pressure? I'm going to put it in the dake and see if we can't break these threads, okay? The JB Weld threads in there on the dake. So let's do that. Everybody's favorite, the dake. Let's see what we're going. Let's see the setup. Here's the setup. I'm going to screw this down until just about one thread is showing there. This way we can see if anything moved down. We're going to put it under the step cone of the dake, and we're going to press it down and see how much pressure this will take, because the gauge on the dake is very accurate. So here we go. We're going to press it down. First, let's bring it up. Okay, we have a little bit over, believe it or not, over a ton. Let me show you up here. Okay, a little bit over a ton so far. So let's see if we can get it to 2 tons. Pressing. Okay, now we're starting to get some movement on there. So it took a little bit over a ton before that started to press the threads out of there. And that's what you could see here. You see, we're a little bit over a ton. So you see how strong that is. That was very interesting. We had about 1 inch of threads into there, and it took a ton before it would deform the threads. Now, this will still screw in tightly and hold it. I'm sure that this is more than ample. I can't pull this out. There's no way I could pull this out by hand. So this would be an ample fix for any kind of threading like that. You know, again, the pull strength is tremendous on this. Okay, so in closing, imagine spending all this time to just test out a theory. And I guess we figured out the long and short of it is for Garrett's plane, to check the threads. If the threads are good, try and find a suitable bolt that'll fit it. If the threads are buggered up, the JB Weld is the way to go. And let us know what you do with that. That seems like a fun project. For the rest of you who never used JB Weld, I hope you give it a shot. And last up, we got a quick announcement. This Saturday, the 21st of January, we have the Jacktown will have its annual first show of the year. That's coming up the 21st of January. It runs from about 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And that'll be in Bangor, Pennsylvania. Now, I'll probably be in Jersey in the beginning. I'm going to try and swing by there for a little while in the morning. If you happen to be in the area, I think you'll enjoy it. It's a cold, just dress warm. It's supposed to be not too bad, about 40 degrees, maybe a high. Dress warm and be prepared to have some fun. So if you're there, we'll see you there. Thanks so much for tuning in. Take care now. Have a great day. Bye-bye.